Hello, all you lovely computer scientists. Today is going to be more of a break off from the standard content because this is the first video that is not going to be Python. We're going to be starting a smaller little playlist kind of thing involving pseudocode, a common language for exams, and it's almost used for every single exam to test computational thinking. So yeah, I thought it was warranted to add. Thank you. So, there are more languages than Python. I know use Python. A little bit of my comfort zone here. So what we're going to be doing is pseudocode, and it's a general language mixed between English and Python, and it's used generally to test computational intelligence. So exam boards such as Pearson and AQA will put this in their test to see how well you can do with a new language, and generally so they don't lock themselves into just one language. And what it is just a mix between standard English and Python, the pseudocode. And pseudocode will always have two things at the beginning and end, right? Begin, it will be caps locked, and end. It sounds simple, sure, but they will always start with us. As you can see, I am still using Trinket because it is just my software of choice, so everything is kind of going to be in yellow. I'll seek to change that in the next some more pseudocode videos. But yeah, they'll have beginning, end, as begin, end. These are required by the exam boards, so always put them in. Generally, I say just put them in right at the beginning, because even if you put it right at the end of the paper, the end, or end of the question bit, you will generally still get the marks. So it's nice to put it there just as a failsafe. Pseudocode also has, obviously, your standard inputs and outputs, but they'll be capitalized, so input, and then usually you'll get variable names, so per se, age, right? And you'll just use your variable A, not variable names, you'll just use all that stuff. That's all I'm showing today. So next pseudocode video will be outputs and all that stuff, and go into a little bit more detail about it, and I'll probably find a better software. Yeah, goodbye. Thank you. Thank you all very much for watching this little divergence of standard content. I do hope you learned just a smidge about pseudocode. I do apologise for the, kind of shoddy software, but I am currently finding a better software, and I just figured I'd dip my toes into the water before I commit to actually downloading a proper software for it. Yeah, hope you learned something. If you did, please don't like, comment, and subscribe, especially comment, because I love learning how you learn. Thank you, goodbye. Hello, all you lovely computer scientists. Today we're going to be doing another episode on pseudocode. And yesterday we explained the two basic commands that will always be in your pseudocode on any exam, any question, anything that you do. Now we're going over two that will almost guaranteed be there. Input, output, pretty self-explanatory why they'd be there, but there are a few certain areas where you just about might not need them. So, yeah. Hello! First things first, as you can see, I've changed the little software rings. I was using Trinket for the pseudocode video, but decided to start using Google Docs, because it's just going to be a bit cleaner. Eventually I will get an even more different software. I think Visual Bright, is it? Something like that. Right, back to the education. So, pseudocode has the standard commands of begin, end, right? Your two standards. Then you have two more kind of basic ones. Input, and then output. Now, input is pretty self-explanatory. That's what it will do is it will receive data. Right, receive data. Output will send data. Right, so we've got these two. And how you do it in exams is just output, and then you'll do blah blah blah. Right, whatever you want to output. Input, obviously, you'll just do the variable name, or an appropriate variable name. So if you've got a problem which is have the user input their favorite train, then output, that's a good train, but I think this train is better. you will have it say input fave train variable like that. Or what happens more often is you'll get variable names in the question, such as I'll have them input their favorite train, and it will be like F train. So you'll get usually variables. Input Python equivalent for input would just be the input command, and the Python equivalent for output would just be print. You know? So yeah, thank you. Thank you all very, very much for watching the video. I do hope you learned just as much about pseudocode. And once again, just like yesterday, I do plan on, during the interim between the next video and this one, I do plan on finding a little bit of better software. But I hope that this little mini-series is going to become a little bit more of a mainstay. So thank you for watching. Hello all you lovely computer scientists. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be showing off selection with pseudocode. It is a lot more different to Python than any of the pseudocode so far, as it completely forgoes one of the main things of selection and completely adds a whole new thing that we need to think of when we're doing selection. So a lot different to Python, but still quite understandable once you wrap your head around it for the first time. It's not new to pseudocode, and it's not unique to any other coding language either. And pseudocode has its own way of doing it. Obviously, you have your begin, tab that one, begin, and your end, just like always. Pseudocode, it's always going to be that. If you don't see me do the begin and end, comment. You know? If I make a mistake, call me up on that. You know? Because if you're looking out for others' mistakes, you will also get better at it. You know, learn from your mistakes, but also learn from others. Back to what it was. Pseudocode does have selection, so we'll receive just an input. Input bar, and this is where pseudocode does selection. If var equals, and you do actually need to do the proper equals, comparative equal, not just assignment equal. If var equals, we'll say 1, then the then in pseudocode just stands for the colon in standard Python. Then you can have your outputs. So output and just cool or whatever. But here's where pseudocode gets a bit more straying from standard coding languages. You need to specify and I put Dina and if. You need to specify this whenever you use an if statement in pseudocode. It's between end and end if being the most common mistakes for people who have already learned a language, a coding languages, who then need to learn pseudocode for their qualifications. You end up forgetting to put the end if or the end. Usually not the beginning though, because you just start with that. But once again, I suggest that when you're writing an if variable, an if statement, end if, right? Remember to put it in there. Number one tip. So what it'll be is then is the equivalent of the colon, same as colon. So yeah. There are also your other statement bits. So else, if, because I don't do elif, then we'll just do bar. Standards in between. You still need the then. Then you also have else then. So yeah, these are the equivalents of if, elif, else. So yeah, thank you. Thank you all very, very much for watching the video. I do hope you learned just as much about pseudocode. And once again, just like yesterday, I do plan on during the interim between the next video and this one, I do plan on finding a little bit better software, but I hope that this little mini-series is going to become a little bit more of a mainstay. So thank you for watching. Hello all you lovely computer scientists. Today we're going to be showing off while loops in pseudocode. You can probably hear that my voice is a bit screwed up. I've had an awful cold and cough over the past week because I left the house early in the morning and I didn't bring like a scarf or gloves. Just a kind of thick coat. So I caught a cold and it's just been screwing my voice up. You're working in pseudocode, there is more than one way to iterate. And sorry if I sound congested here, I've got a cold still and it's screwing up my voice. But yeah, there's more than one way to do iteration. We showed off for loops last time, now we're going to show off while loops. And while loops in pseudocode are a lot closer to Python. As, since they're condition controlled, you end up writing the condition in a way that would be nearly identical to Python. Now, it usually has to be caps locked, not always, sometimes no. Just define a variable for the sake of the condition. So while counter is lower or equal to 10, let's say, then instead of then, like an if or an elif or an else, you put do, which indicates that you do whatever is indented until counter is equal to 10 or whatever your condition is. So we'll just put output counter equals counter plus 1. Good God, my voice is damned. It sounds like I've been smoking a pack a day for like 20 years. I don't mean to. Anyway, then you need to, just like with any other indentation thing in pseudocode, then put end, and then whatever you think you've used, so end while. That's how you would use while loops in pseudocode. You will notice that it is the most similar to Python that most pseudocode pieces will be, just because of the condition always needing to look like an actual condition. Whereas for loops, they're not condition controlled, so those look more unique to each language, you know? Yeah. Apologies about my voice being a bit screwed up. I've got a cold. It'll be better by the next long form video, but yeah, let's hope. Thank you all very much for watching the video. I do hope you enjoyed, and I do hope you learned something. And if you want, comment and tell me how you learned, because it would help me create better videos. But yeah, please like, comment, and subscribe, as it helps me a ton. And thank you. I will. I'll try and sort my voice out for the next video, because it's extremely damaged right now. So yeah. Hello, all you lovely computer scientists. Today's no, man, that's the wrong series actually. I just got confused with like the the 3 lines of code series. I'm used to doing that. Anyway, well, today we're going to be showing off iteration and loops in pseudocode. Just the for loop today. Anyway, yeah, that's about it. So, no matter if you're on a A-level course, a GCSE course, could be BTEC, could be O-level, whatever, or even an apprenticeship in certain computer science sectors, you will end up using pseudocode. And within any kind of coding, there are almost 3 constants which you need: defining, selection, iteration. So, can you choose your options? Can you make the options? And can you do stuff multiple times without making it multiple times? Pseudocode is no different, as it has iteration too. With pseudocode, you obviously have your begin, end. Good practice to always add them in before you finish. Your define, so we'll just make a variable. And then also your iteration. We'll just show off a for loop tag. So for I equals to 1, 2, and then you put what number you want, however many times you want to loop by. I like 7. Then you obviously indent, and then make it do whatever you want it to do. So our output variable we made. Then obviously, with any pseudocode thing, you have to end it. End for. Now you might think, well, if ifs also have end if, and fors have end fors, what happens if you had an if inside of for? Which one goes first? It's rather simple, it just goes based on the layer of indentation. So if I had if var is equal to var, then you need to double indent once again. Output var, and then end if. You shouldn't put it after the end for, it should be on the same level of indentation and on the same inside thing. You should not put the end for before the end if it's inside the for, and vice versa. Thank you all very much for watching the video. I do hope you enjoyed, and I hope you found the stuff at the beginning a bit funny. I don't know why I got confused like that, but it was funny to me at least. So, yeah, thank you. Hello, all you lovely computer scientists. Today we're going to be showing off the third method of iteration with pseudocode. This third method is completely unique to pseudocode and not seen in Python or other such languages, and it is a repeat until. You can imagine it a bit like a while loop, but in inverse. So the condition needs to be what you need to end it, rather than what you need it to be to start it. And yeah, unique to pseudocode. So with pseudocode, we've already showed off two of the ways that you can iterate. But pseudocode has its own unique method of iteration, which is unique fully to pseudocode, but kind of functions like a while loop, but in a more pseudo-English way. Now, once again, with any pseudocode, just slap in the beginning end. Now, what it will be is, we're going to start off with the example. So, password. Then we'll just have it equal 1, 2, 3, 4. Then, what you'll do is you will do repeat. This to show that anything that is then indented below it shall repeat until. It is literally just repeat and then until. And how you show that something needs to be repeated is with indentation. So we'll say output guess password. Forgot to space that. Then we'll say input. Forgot to capitalize. Input. And then we'll just have it be a variable. So guessed password. And how you do the until is the same way you do a while loop. So until guessed password equals password. then you have whatever statement after that. You just say output correct. As you can see, this is how you do it. You have your example, then repeat, and then until. The until should look like a while loop. Well, the inverse of a while loop, as that's the end condition, not the loop condition, as unlike a while loop. So yeah, it's essentially an inverse while loop in activation requirements, but it's similar to a while loop in how long it will loop for. Thank you all very much for watching the video. I do hope you learned something, and if you did learn something, please like, comment, and subscribe, but especially comment, because I love hearing what you have to say about what I've taught. And if you have learned something, I love seeing how you've learnt it, so that way I can adapt my videos to help you learn more. Thank you.